How
rare.
much pressure is on Kirk Cousins this season, Stephen A?
I think a lot. I think he's got some of the highest level of pressure than anybody. He's under 500 as a starter. He's 26-30-1. He's 0-1 in playoff competition, which means he's never won a playoff game. Now, the last 3 years, he's passed for over 4,000 yards and thrown at least 25 touchdowns. And the Minnesota's entire history, only 3 quarterbacks, I think, have done it. I think Dante Culpepper did it, Warren Moon did it, and, of course, Brett Favre did it, his MVP caliber season when he had, when he did what he did with the 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. But here's the reality. Minnesota is one of the elite defenses in the NFL. Now, the last 6 quarters that we've seen them, they gave up 62 points. Defense wet the bed. This is a defense that led the league in points allowed and yards allowed. They were that big time defensively. But for some reason, in the last the second half against the Saints and then the NFC Championship game against the Eagles, they got ran out of the stadium, or in the last NFC Championship game against Philadelphia. In the end, you've got all the requisite weapons. There's no excuse. Your defense is elite, and they're back. Offensively, you're considered an upgrade to Case Keenum. You've got Thielen. You've got Stephon Diggs. You've got Kyle Rudolph. They've got a questionable offensive line, particularly on the right side, that they've got to address. But overall, when you look at the Minnesota Vikings, okay, you're talking about a team that should be in the picture. And, Max, if you remember, one of my trepidations about the Rams is that you chilling in L.A. all season long, and then you'll have to go on the road. Well, Minnesota, that ain't the case. Even though they're playing in the dome now, the bottom line is climate control. I mean, it's a little bit different ball game. Minnesota, with Kirk Cousins, Mr. $84 million guaranteed deal over 3 years, $28 million per year. Every penny
Plus,
guaranteed.
who's coming back?
Every
Dalvin
penny.
Cook.
And Dalvin Cook's come back. There is no excuse for the Minnesota Vikings.
For what? What's the pressure? Define the pressure. What's he got to do?
I think Kirk Cousins has to get them to the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Oh.
Look, there's a lot of pressure on Kirk Cousins, but let me
Super Bowl.
explain something. Obviously, for all the reasons you outlined and Dalvin Cook getting back, what doesn't he have? You got a defense, you got an offense, you got a running game, you got guys to throw to. And the guy you're replacing, they just gave you big guaranteed money over multiple years, and the guy you're replacing was kind of fringy MVP last year, I thought. I thought he was in that kind of on the fringe of that discussion for a while. So, and they won, they advanced in the playoffs. Let me tell you what it means, though, to have a long-term contract. In fact, people understand. You can't get blown out and stink it out in your only playoff appearance. The pressure means you must make the playoffs. Must make the playoffs. Cannot miss. Do you have to win in the playoffs? Kirk Cousins has to play well in the playoffs. He could lose. He could lose in his first playoff appearance with the Vikings.
And that would be okay. He's saying Super Bowl, and you're saying he can lose in the playoffs.
He doesn't have to worry about what he's worried about these last bunch of years. Getting franchised, playing for a contract. He's got the contract. What are they going to do in Minnesota if they don't like the fact that he didn't win a playoff game? What are you going to do?
I'm just talking about his reputation.
Can I ask you a question? Let me ask you a question. You want to sit here and
want
talk
to come
about
at me now?
Yeah, I need to address you real quick because you talk about
don't mistake my kindness for weakness.
You real casual right now. You talk about he just needs to make the playoff. I'm sorry, when you pay somebody $90 million and you talk about all he needs to do is make the playoff. Max, you got to be kidding me.
What did the Detroit Lions pay you?
No.
What did the Detroit Lions pay you? You make the playoffs?
It's not about my bag, okay? It's not about my bag right now. We're talking about Kirk Cousins.
David, before you go on, let me tell you, this is when I call him Max Mediocre. When I say that, it's because he'll accept the mediocre stuff from other guys. Like Kirk Cousins making the playoffs is good enough for him.
Well,
that's where I say that.
This year.
That's why I get on about. Because he accepts it.
Can I hear from Damien? Keep going.
You can get a C with Max in the side.
I wouldn't have signed Kirk
cool
Cousins. I wouldn't have signed him.
Clearly, Max
I'd have stayed with Case Keenum.
Clearly, Max has no expectations.
That's what I get on him about.
Minnesota, they have the best odds. We just showed it out of the NFC. Best odds.
Well, first of all, I just got to put this all out there, and I'm not a big believer in Kirk Cousins. What has Kirk Cousins won in this league?
Nothing.
He has won nothing in this league. Now, listen, I congratulate him. He got the bag. There's no question about that. I'm happy you got paid. But when you have a roster like Minnesota has, okay, when you got the elite defense, you got elite pieces, you got Dalvin Cook coming back at the running back position, you got elite wide receivers, you got a really good tight end, all those type of things. If you can't advance past where you got to last year, why in the hell are they paying you all this money?
Do you think luck plays a role in the
Well,
winners
luck
of NFL
definitely
games?
played a role with them last year against New Orleans.
Okay, see?
Max, in every championship team that I've ever been a part of, luck is a part of it.
Right.
You got to have some luck to be able to
so
get
let's
part
say
of
Kirk
that.
Cousins plays well, and on a miracle play, they wind up losing. And
I don't want to hear it, Max.
Here's
Max, Max, you are just. Why are you scapegoating Kirk Cousins right now?
Scapegoating.
You are. You giving all these different things. Well, if he
I'm
just makes,
not scapegoating.
if you giving him an out,
No,
if he makes the playoffs, then that's okay.
Here's pressure.
What if he doesn't? What if he doesn't have the luck?
Pressure.
Calm down.
Let's say Kirk Cousins never got his long-term money.
You okay?
Let's say Kirk Cousins never got his long-term money. Let's say he'd never even been franchised.
Okay.
And let's say Minnesota thought they were on the brink and traded some draft picks and everything for him, and now he's playing for his contract. Now he's under a different kind of pressure.
Max, we're talking about his reputation, bro. That's all we're saying.
We're saying
he
how
got
much
his money.
pressure
He
is
got
he
his money.
under?
He got his money. He got his job.
Max,
in terms of your statement,
Max,
You get the last word, and then I want to move on.
Max, I'm not going to play this, if was a fifth. I'm not doing all that. Okay, the fact is, he got his money. Okay?
Next year.
You got it. He got it.
It's not even about his money. It's about how good that team is and how far they went
Well, but no,
last year.
but you know what, Miles?
Cousins doesn't advance this year in the playoffs, the pressure will be on doing
But
next
you know
year.
what? Here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to say. The NFC is stacked.
No
As
kidding.
much as we talk about the Minnesota Vikings.
He got to produce, though.
The NFC is stacked right now.
Right.
Let's keep going.
Just say
We
you
could do
agree
this
with
all
me
day.
next
So
time.
Cousins-
No, I don't agree with you.
Cousins is
Never
one of
that.
about
Never
5
going to
players
do
that got